Hello, everybody. A very good evening to everyone who are joining us in from India and the people who are joining us from Europe and Africa. A very good morning to all of you. And thank you for joining us for today's session. In our drive to become inclusive, we have sign language interpreters with us for the entire session today. Thank you, Kirtana, for joining us today and helping with the interpretation. My name is Akanksha, and I am part of the communications team at NASCOM Foundation. And I'm extremely thrilled to welcome you all for a very special session today with our eminent speakers. And I assure you that the next 1 hour will be very useful and will be full of some impactful conversations. NASCOM Foundation is a social arm of the IT BPM industry body NASCOM and works with the industry in achieving its goal for social transformation and impact through technology. We lay major focus on building innovations and designing programs that cater to societal changes through technology. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and the links of the recording will be available on the NASCOM YouTube page. I would like to remind everyone that some of the words or graphics used today may be triggering. That means it might make some of you feel uncomfortable, anxious, or might even take you back to an unpleasant memory. Please do take a break if you need one. You can also close your eyes and focus on your breathing and tell yourself you are safe and okay. Today, we all are gathered to launch a critical solution that will be of great use in the coming times when we will be talking about women's safety and empowerment. And without further ado, I would now like to invite Syed Farooq Hassan, Program Lead, NASCOM Foundation, to talk more about the partnership and set the context for today's session. Over to you, Farooq.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Akanksha. Hello, everyone. My name is Syed Farooq Hassan. I am the program manager for the initiative that we work with Vodafone India Foundation. Our partnership, with Vodafone India Foundation has been a long one. It dates back to 2015, and we've collaborated with them on multiple projects. Every project that we've done with them at its core has seen technology. We believe that to use the power of technology largely to address social challenges that are there. This initiative, Connecting for Good, also aims to use the expertise of technology to help the marginalized communities and solve complex social problems. This initiative has also seen quite a few numbers of mobile-based solutions being developed, and the launch of this particular solution also kind of strengths this same thought process that technology can be used to solve complex social problems that are there, to help the NGOs expand the impact of their intervention. The current solution that we are launching today here is largely a holistic solution of women empowerment and women safety. I really like to thank all our partners, Vodafone India Foundation, Safety Trust, UN Women, and our team at NASCOM Foundation, who have worked really, really hard to actually make this into a reality. Thank you so much to everyone who's been involved. I also would like to thank the technology agency, Signity Solutions, who have worked with us at every step in trying to bring the concept that we had in our heads into a reality. So thank you so much for everyone that has really contributed to the development and solution, and enjoy the launch. We look forward to having a great launch, and we look forward to have more and more people use this solution and adopt this solution so that this solution is always put to good use. Thank you. Thank you so much. Back to you, Akanksha.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Farooq, for setting that context right. I would now like to introduce and invite Mr. P. Balaji, the Chief Regulatory and Corporate Affairs Officer at Vodafone India Limited, Vodafone Idea Limited, and Director, Vodafone Foundation. Balaji is a member of the core leadership team of Vodafone Idea Limited that has successfully led planning and execution of the world's largest telecom merger with nearly 275 million customers in a record 2 years. He leads companies' regulatory, public policy, and government relations activities, along with the industry advocacy, corporate communications, reputation management, and CSR. He's a pioneer in the telecom sector with over 30 years of experience and joining the sector at its infancy in 1993. He has the unique experience of holding leadership positions in all three telecom verticals with leading technology, devices companies, and telecom operator. To all of us, we know Balaji as someone who has been the backbone of these initiatives and is a huge encouragement for all of us to keep the light for solutions for good shining. It is always a pleasure to have you with us, Balaji. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Akanksha, for the warm words. Welcome. It's always a privilege to work with the NASCOM Foundation. All of us in our foundation as well as our company have the highest regard for all the impactful work that we create and how you keep us honestly focused on the right kind of solutions where we can partner and create significant impact. And so let me just, like you, welcome all ladies and gentlemen that have joined us from India or overseas on a very, very important day today as we are here to launch My Amber. A quick word about what we do in Vodafone Idea CSR. The company itself has been hugely committed to the cause of women's safety and empowerment, and taking it forward is a key area for our CSR focus. And the My Amber app is a step in that direction to make sure that we support women in India, and we also kind of stand with them and recognize that there are tools that need to be created for supporting them against violence. The CSR arm of Vodafone Idea Limited, which is Vodafone India Foundation, has several women empowerment programs currently running across the country with great partners from the social sector. We firmly believe that what is good for society is good for business, and we are more than happy and committed to play our role as a responsible corporate citizen and contribute to the overall development of the country. And technology is at the heart of our CSR work, and we believe that mobile communication improves lives and gives unprecedented opportunities to address various social challenges. And it is our responsibility to use this technology and our expertise to do just that. Over the years, we have engaged in a wide variety of path-breaking and transformational programs with stakeholders, and our portfolio focuses on a few core areas: Vidya, which is education; Swasthya, which is healthcare; Amdani, which is livelihoods and women empowerment. And we have transformative projects in each of these areas. Our portfolio of solutions are built around the principle of inclusivity, and we ensure that these initiatives are positively impacting all segments of society. One of the key tenets for us is gender inclusion, and we ensure that women are stakeholders in every step of our program design, which is extremely important, and then delivery. If you've got their perspective already at the design stage, then it becomes very easy to deliver the outcomes that are meant for them. So while women are the key beneficiaries of our programs, a lot of initiatives that we have done are solely focused on increasing their empowerment and economic independence. Some of these are our Rudi Sandesh Vyavahar, which is an order management and inventory control, which is made simpler even for rural saleswomen called Rudi Bains to increase their income and quality of life. Jadu Ginnika, which is our financial literacy flagship program, which has reached over 10 million people, and much more than half of them are women who have therefore been able to manage their household finances much better with the knowledge that they now possess. And Jigyasa, which is our education initiative that helps thousands of teachers learn digital skills and create digital content. It is improving learning outcomes for their students. Again, significant number of them are young girl children spread over the length and breadth of the country. We all know the statistics and data that suggest that people in India, that women in India continue to be repressed through various forms of violence. As per the National Family Health Survey 4, 27%, that's a staggering number, of women have experienced physical violence since the age of 15 in India. The latest NCRB report figures also indicate that crime against women are on the rise. Year on year, they went up 7.3% last year, which is not a good sign. Women's safety and empowerment, therefore, remains a critical topic. And even though it has got widespread attention from governments and corporates alike, and a lot of work is being done, a lot more ground has to be covered by people contributing more and more to it. For me personally, in my home, I have three wonderful women who are the pillars of my support: my wife, my mother, and my daughter. And so this whole thing about women empowerment is very, very dear to me, as I'm sure it is dear to all of us who are on this call. The IMF in 2018 had done a study that estimated that there would be a staggering 27% increase in gross domestic product of India if we just got the women's participation in labor force the same level at which men are. Now, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. And clearly, as we start to make the steps towards it as responsible citizens, as responsible corporates, women's safety then is one issue that will keep coming up as a driver that keeps women away from workforce. And keeping in this mind, while my Amber is a very, very special thing and dear to all of our hearts, it's also a fact that on our product solution side, we launched a product called Sakhi, which is a mobile-based service to keep women safe when they step out of their homes, even for small things like recharging, so their numbers don't end up in the hand of unscrupulous people, how to mask those and get them recharges and give them the ability to buy their own recharge with confidence, and also have safety features built in there. My Amber today that we are now launching is a solution that's entirely developed and designed with the safety and women and empowerment of women in India in mind. And I must say that from all the initial work that we've done with all our partners on this, whether it's Safety Trust, whether it's the UN Women and NASSCOM Foundation, of course, we are quite confident that in the first year itself, with the outreach program that is planned, maybe 100,000 women would understand, address, and combat gender-based violence in the first year. The app is designed around being informative. It's about having tools that allow it to be preventative and also remedial in nature, and developed, as was talked about earlier, under the Solutions for Good initiative. The app itself is modeled around a Bright Sky solution, which the Vodafone Group has launched in other parts of the world. And it's a free app that connects victims of domestic violence and abuse to advice and support services. My Amber app will bring ready help and education for all women on gender-based violence to understand the issue and to avail support services. It will help create a safe haven for the survivors and high-risk victims to log in their complaints and seek help without bias and without judgment. That is so very important to make a beginning. It also provides women with easy access to important helpline numbers and service providers across the country, but also helps them through a step-by-step risk assessment tool, guiding them through various ways of dealing with their current situation. Its extensive service directory will also help them to reach out to legal and counseling services at the click of a button. Features like masking or disguising it as different service app will also make sure that women in high-risk environments are able to download and use it effectively. As I've said before, it's an absolute honor to be a partner with NASSCOM Foundation on so many initiatives that goes back to nearly 5.5 years. And so this is one more step in that direction. Our humble thanks and gratitude to Safety Trust and UN Women in the launch and the design of this app, and of course, our app developing partner as well. We are hopeful that our association with such esteemed stakeholders will help and lend a helping hand in this endeavor to educate women, help them understand the constituents of abuse around them, and to gain access to verified information, because that's what is very critical, on medical, legal, and mental health services located close by. I once again thank NASSCOM Foundation for working with us on so many path-breaking projects. This one is extremely dear to us, and we are hopeful that the women of India will use this initiative with the partnership that we've got together. We together will be in a position to educate, empower, and support women, because when you support one woman, we make sure that we support the entire family, make an impact on the immediate ecosystem of the community, which in turn brings a multiplier effect on the entire overall social and economic development of the entire country. With that, I hand it back to Akanksha for taking this event forward. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Thank you so much, Balaji, for such a factful, crisp, and powerful, talk. And I also feel if a man protects one woman, you're protecting the nation. So that's how it goes. And without wasting any more time, I have a very special video message by none other than Padma Shri Mrs. Rajshri Birla. Mrs. Rajshri Birla is an exemplar in the area of community initiatives and rural development. She spearheads the Aditya Birla Center for Community Initiatives and Rural Development, the Aditya Birla Group's apex body responsible for development projects and responsible for creating impacts across 7,000 villages, reaching out to 9 million people. We are honored to have her wishes and the message for the launch. I would request my team to help us with that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me congratulate Vodafone Idea, the NESCOM Foundation, and the UN Women for launching the My Amber application as part of our holistic CSR program. The My Amber application is designed around women, equipping them with ways to handle their personal safety and how not to allow themselves to be exploited physically, mentally, and intellectually. Through the inexorable passage of time, we have seen hundreds of women subjected to such privation. At Vodafone Idea, a view was taken that we cannot simply stand aside and watch such incongruities happening around. The My Amber app is the need of the hour. It is a 360-degree application in all respects with inputs on legal, medical, and mental health services that can be recourse to by women folk, besides bringing a perpetrator to book. Having said that, let me move beyond technology and address you straight from the heart. I, for one, believe that we need a systemic change. We need a mindset revolution. Far too long, many parents have treated sons and daughters differently. In thousands of families, daughters have been relegated to a subordinate status, ingraining in them that their wagon is hitched as a footnote in the family hierarchy. In most cases, sons can, by and large, get away with their mistakes lightly. Such archaic thoughts need to be thrashed. I feel most fortunate and blessed in our parents. We were four sisters in a Marwadi family. Our parents taught us to believe in ourselves, to respect every person, to have courage of conviction, to pursue the righteous path, and to do one's best. They also impressed upon us the need to have abundance of love for the family and to have compassion towards all fellow travelers in this journey of life. Not for once did they feel accursed for not having a son. And as I share this very personal emotion with you, I feel that our boys must be raised in this manner and that respect for girls must course through their veins. This would ensure that they would never mistreat women in any way because they would have been tutored from childhood to uphold the dignity of women. It may seem utopian, but actually doable. Yet another narrative with an important lesson runs like this. After my husband Adityaji's demise, Kumar Mangalam, my son, suggested that I look after a few units. A couple of meetings later, in this unknown domain, very quickly I realized that I was not cut out for business. And I told him so. I found that my involvement in our CSR projects endowed my life with a higher sense of purpose. Kumar Mangalam understood from where I came. The point that I wish to drive home is that in those days of yore, there weren't even a handful of women in business. But this did not deter him because he made no distinction between capabilities of men and women. And this brings me to my next point, which is the celebration of women power through commitment to gender equality. Let me rewind to 1995 when my son Kumar Mangalam took over. Then, women comprised less than 1% of the management cadre. Today, it stands at 16%. He firmly believes that women bring a lot in terms of creativity, commitment, and performance. Processes have been put in place, a gender diversity vision has been articulated, and we have accelerated progress to mainstream gender diversity through a 7 point agenda co created with business leaders. Kumar Mangalam's aspiration is to have 20% women in management cards and 10% women in top management in the near future. I feel that a majority of the women who are listening to this virtual talk are super smart, super connected, and very serious about their jobs and careers. Education and being born into privilege has been a vantage point. It behoves upon us that we move the needle. Along with my Umber app, we take upon ourselves the responsibility of trying to provide a semblance of a level playing field to those not so privileged. Training every woman in martial arts and in self defense will bring about a significant change. In our country's hinterland, where Vodafone Idea and our group is engaged, we have helped spawn more women serpents, village heads than ever before. We have trained 15,000 girls in martial arts. We have and continue to impart the right values to boys and the feeling of camaraderie between boys and girls is rewarding. There is the bond of trust, and the girls in our villages have faith that they will not be manhandled. The entire process has taken more than a decade. It has been a quantum leap though. I earnestly hope that soon there will come a day when women would stand shoulder to shoulder with men and never be exploited in any form. Let me conclude the words of Anne Bassett, the famous American writer, and I quote: lives of men are built on the shoulders of the women who carry them around. Here's wishing all the very best to all of you. God bless.
Wow, that was a beautiful and an inspiring message from Rajshri ma'am. Rajshri ma'am, if you're listening to us, we cannot be more thankful to you. And I think you quoted so well. I think you quoted really well. And I'd really like to move ahead now. And I would now like to invite Mr. Ashok Pamidi, CEO, NASCOM Foundation. Ashok sir has been a purpose-driven leader with over 30 years of cross-functional experience in the IT, diversity and inclusion, and social development space. Ashok sir leads NASCOM Foundation by aligning, scaling, and sustaining initiatives to help propel the industry in achieving its goals of social transformation and impact through technology. He is also the advisory board in numerous consulting firms in the areas of leadership and diversity and inclusion. I would really like to invite you, Ashok sir, and please share your thoughts and insights with us.
Thank you, Akasha, and good evening to all of you, and good morning to others who have joined from Africa and Europe. It's indeed an honor and pleasure to be here because I would say that the partnership with Vodafone Foundation, as Balaji mentioned, is almost more than 5 years old, and every time we are always happy and very thrilled to partner with them because the kind of solutions we are able to arrive together are the ones which are actually required for the country and for the nation. The launch today of My Amber is indeed very close to me because I also lead diversity and inclusion. And we clearly see that one of the major aspects of women actually coming to the workforce is because of a very safe and a good, conducive environment for them, both at home as well as at workplace. If you look at the domestic violence, yes, certainly because of the pandemic, we have clearly seen that the number of violence as reported is about 1,477 during the lockdown period, and obviously it is almost double than what it was earlier. But the irony of it is 86% of the women actually don't report or experience about the domestic violence, and 77% of them actually prefer to keep quiet. Now, this particular application or app which we have created actually looks at the various forms of domestic violence in terms of physical, mental, emotional, and economic as well. And of course, verbal is taken for granted, that's also there. But having said that, why is it that as a foundation we put so much of stress on gender parity? The first reason is obviously economic. In a country like ours, if you look at the labor force participation, it's just 23%. Well, IT industry seems to be an island of paradise in an ocean of turmoil. Why do I say turmoil? The reason is our neighboring countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh seem to be having better labor force participation than we have. And as per McKinsey's report, they say if we reach a gender parity in a country like ours, 700 billion can be added to the economy in the next couple of years. Now that's a huge number and we can't afford to miss that. So we want women actually working in the industry or whatever industry they're talking about. Now, why do we say that and what has domestic violence got to do with that? Well, the societal gender parity has a direct bearing on workforce parity. Now, why do we say that that is very important? The fact also remains that if you look at the Indian women or the Indian overall society per se, the Indian women actually work 10 times more than in domestic chores than that of the men. And again, as a nation, we have to actually feel quite, ashamed of ourselves. The Indian men don't work so much in household work as the other parts of the world, or especially the Western part of the world. So obviously, there is more stress for women in all aspects than what they face. So obviously, there is a little bit of, the societal gender parity is directly coming into the, what I can call it as the workforce parity out there. So we find that a large number of women actually choose not to work, even though they are educated. Only in India, we find that there is something called as a C curve. C curve is where at one end you have the people with matriculation or primary school or maybe not even educated actually working, and they work in the what you can call it, in the non-classified workforce in agriculture and various other services sector. Then it dips and then it goes up at the tertiary level. Tertiary level is where, the people where we report that there are so many women working in the industry, etc., etc. They are the ones who are having a tertiary form of education. But then there's a huge population which have actually completed their matriculation, who have completed their PUC or the 12th standard, and they prefer not to work. And these are a huge population which don't want to work because of various reasons, and probably domestic violence is one of them, where they don't have the comfort of really moving out of the house. And this current pandemic has clearly shown that the number of cases in some of these metros have actually come down. What does it mean? It doesn't mean to say domestic violence has come down. It's obviously not getting reported. Now, this app is one such endeavor from our end with all the partners we have to try to arrest the problem of domestic violence. While we do know that only 54% of the population have smartphones, we realize that each one can teach the other, and thus we are in a position to transform India bit by bit. And all of you together, we can make it. So thank you very much.
Much, Ashok sir. You indeed are somebody who give us this entire new lens that we can look at through. So I think thank you so much, Ashok sir. And now, before we move ahead, I would again like to remind everyone that some of the words and graphics we are going to be using today may be triggering, and it may make some of you feel uncomfortable or anxious. Please do take a break if you feel that you need to. You can also close your eyes and focus on your breathing and tell yourself you are okay. I would now, without saying any words, want to play a video for all of you. Thank you. The video somewhere explains why we need a solution that can become a safe sky for every woman. My Amba, which means Mera Asma is my right. And today we have with us Shabnam Khan, who has been a survivor of sexual assault and domestic violence. And we are grateful for her to inspire us. And I would really request her to come on video and help us launch My Amber. Hi, Shabnam.
आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
जी आप थोड़ा सा और जोर से अगर बोल सके तो।
आपको आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
बिल्कुल परफेक्ट आ रही है। सबसे पहले आपका थैंक यू बहुत बहुत हमारे साथ आने के लिए। थैंक यू सो मच शबनम।
थैंक यू सो मच आप लोगों का भी।
अब हम चाहेंगे कि आप माय अंबर लॉन्च करें एंड
ठीक है। ओके।
परफेक्ट। थैंक यू सो मच शबनम। आपसे बस कुछ देर में बात करेंगे। आई वुड नाउ रिक्वेस्ट Gagandeep, who is our technology lead at NASCOM Foundation and has played a very, very great role in developing the solution, to give us a brief walkthrough of the solution. Gagan, over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Akansha. A very warm welcome to this short tour of My Amber. Our digital solution, which is website and mobile app, has been designed to fulfill three objectives: bridge knowledge gap, provide a geotag service directory, and SOS alert in case of emergency situation. Without taking much time now, I will just project my screen to give you a real experience how this app will look like and how you can use this particular app in day to day. Yeah. So I will start with a very important feature of this app, which is a risk assessment. By responding to simple set of questions, user can know their level of risk and what should they do to address it. This tool is developed in consultation with subject matter experts, including psychiatrists, which will help users in knowing the exact thing what they have to do in their day-to-day activity to make sure that they are able to resolve their issues. Then it comes to another important feature, which is a survivor toolkit. The survivor toolkit, which is a knowledge bank and a backbone of this entire platform, is also available as an audio file, and which will help user who do not have a time to read through can also get access while reading the audios which have been devised in the system. The audios are also available in English and Hindi, which will be again kind of help us to reach to the masses where the language barrier is again a challenge. This toolkit also, as Akansha also said, that there are certain trigger points which may come us or which may remind us the traumatic time period wherein the abuser may feel, or we can also repeat the memories which we had in past. For those, we have also devised a grounding exercise. So grounding exercise, by reading through this or by listening to this, people will kind of get calm themselves down, and which will again make them that okay, yes, everything is okay, and there is still a lot of things to do around. So when it comes to the another thing which is an important part, if I'm in a problem, what should I do? Where should I lead to? We have a help nearby me section. This help nearby me section has variety of professional support like mental health problems resolution, counselors, legal help, and this is again the data is geotagged, which will help us in sending or extracting the real data or the nearby location service providers to the location of the user. Uh, when again for an SOS button, what we have done is that a user can create their own emergency contacts, and as soon as the user is in a problem situation, the emergency button can be triggered, and in 3 seconds the message will be pushed to the contact list which have been created in the emergency contact list, along with the location of a user that hey, I am in a problem and my location is this. Along with the same, it also triggers a call to the primary contact number which has been devised in the contact list in the emergency contact list bar. The last feature which I'm gonna talk about, because there are a lot of other features which we would want you guys to experience yourself and let us know your feedback, and again what we can do as part of our next phase 2 plan, is the a masking feature wherein a user can mask the app into a weather app, and this feature will has been specifically designed from a perspective where a victim of a domestic violence can have their phones being checked by their abusers. The features help them to mask the usage of a app in a safe environment and thus can maintain their secrecy. And with this, I would again will again back to pass this to Kansha, and the app can be installed from the Google Play Store by just typing MyAmber, and can also be accessed over the web platform, which is www.myamber.org. Thank you and have a great evening ahead. Over to you, Akansha.
Thank you, Gagan. You're really kind enough to keep it really, really short.
Yeah.
And I think now we give it to the users. Everybody should download and explore. We will be happy to hear feedback or any inputs that anybody of you can have and want to share with us. I don't want to take this session, I don't want to make much delay. And without further ado, I would now like to move ahead on the next segment of this session. And I would want all of you to be with us for the next part, which is very, very, very interesting. And I want to introduce Dr. Shruti Kapoor, who is the founder of Safety Trust, an Indian NGO whose mission is to educate and empower women and girls against gender-based violence. Dr. Kapoor was named Biopolitical as one of the most influential people in global policy in 2019. She is dedicated to media, digital, and traditional approaches to strive for gender equality and gender responsiveness implementation of the sustainable. Dr. Shruti, pleasure to have you with us, and I would now request you to take it over from here, please.
Thank you so much, Akansha. A big thank you to the Vodafone NASCOM Foundation and the UN Women and Team Safety for making this app possible and this event possible. So without further ado, I'm going to have a short conversation with Shabnam ji, who is joining us today. Shabnam ji, as Akansha has already introduced Shabnam. Shabnam is a survivor of both sexual assault and domestic violence. And unfortunately, this is something she has experienced in our homes. So for a lot of women and girls, home is no longer a safe space. And especially during this pandemic, we have seen a surge in the number of domestic violence cases, and women have been locked down with their abusers at home, with little or no help available to them. So Shabnam ji, बहुत बहुत welcome आपका, and thank you for joining us. आज आप अपना एक्सपीरियंस हमारे साथ शेयर करेंगी, इसके लिए हम आपके आभारी हैं। ये कोई आसान बात नहीं है, तो थैंक यू अगेन फॉर टेकिंग आउट द टाइम टू जॉइन अस। सबसे पहले हम आपसे ये जानना चाहेंगे शबनम जी के एज अ सर्वाइवर इन 3-4 सालों में आपने बहुत सारी कठिनाइयां उठाई हैं। यू हैव फेस्ड मेनी मेनी चैलेंजेस इन द पास्ट 3-4 years in terms of not only abusive रिलेशनशिप से निकलने की, बट ऑल्सो उस घर से निकलने की जहां पर आप एकदम भी सेफ नहीं थी। तो क्या आप हमें अपने कुछ चैलेंजेस के बारे में बता सकती हैं जो आपने इन 3-4 सालों में फेस करे हैं, और किस तरीके से अब आप यू हैव मूव फॉरवर्ड इन योर लाइफ नाउ। तो कुछ उन चैलेंजेस और समस्याओं के बारे में हमें थोड़ा बताइए प्लीज।
हेलो एवरीवन, मेरा नाम शबनम है एंड मैं 23 इयर्स ओल्ड हूँ। मैं एक डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस एंड सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट की सर्वाइवर हूँ, और ये सब मैंने अपने घर में ही फेस किया है। एंड जिसने किया वो मेरा एक रिलेटिव थे, वो मेरे अंकल थे। तो जब उन्होंने ये सब किया तो मैंने मम्मी को इन्फॉर्म किया था इस चीज़ के लिए। तो मम्मी ने बोला कि नहीं, ये बात किसी को नहीं बतानी है, मुझे पता है, यहीं तक रहनी चाहिए, कहीं बाहर नहीं जानी चाहिए। तो मैं उस टाइम पे सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज था कि मैं किसको बोलूँ। सबसे ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट मेरे को अपनी मम्मी पे था, सबको होता है। तो मम्मी ने ही जब मना कर दिया तो उसके बाद मेरे को था कि मैं किसको बोलूँ। मैंने बहुत कोशिश की सबको बताने की कि कोई समझे। मैंने अपने भाइयों को भी बताने की कोशिश की, पर मम्मी ने उन लोगों को बार बार बोला कि नहीं ये झूठ बोल रही है, नहीं ये झूठ बोल रही है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ है। तो ये सब 3 साल तक मेरे साथ होता रहा वहाँ पे। एंड 3 साल तक मेरे को मतलब ये था कि मैं कैसे भी वहाँ से बाहर निकलूँ। एंड मेरे पास फ़ोन था मेरा, पर मैं उसको यूज़ करने की मुझे परमिशन नहीं थी। एंड मैं ऑफ़िस भी जाती थी तो मेरे को लाने भी वो लोग आते थे, मेरे को छोड़ने भी वो जाते थे कि अगर मेरे को चांस मिलता अकेला तो मैं वहाँ से भाग जाती। तो मुझे वहाँ से भी चांस नहीं मिला। फिर उसके बाद मेरे एक फ्रेंड हैं, मैंने उनको शेयर की ये बात कि मुझे ऐसा-ऐसा प्रॉब्लम है इस घर में। एंड मैंने अपनी मम्मी को बोला, तो उन्होंने मना कर दिया सबको बताने के लिए और मुझे बहुत मारा वगैरह कि नहीं किसी को नहीं बताओगी। 3 साल तक जो चल रहा है चलो ऐसे ही, अब आगे तक जो चल रहा है चलने दो, अब जो हो गया हो गया। तो उन्होंने बोला कि अपने भाई को एक बार बैठ के उनसे बात करो। मैंने उनको बताया कि भाई ऐसी-ऐसी बात है और ये सब हो रहा है मेरे साथ इस घर में। और मम्मी को मैं बता चुकी हूँ तो उन्होंने तुझे बताने के लिए मना किया। तो उन्होंने भी बोला कि ठीक है रहने दो, मम्मी को पता है रहने दो, जब वो मना कर रही हैं तो मैं भी कुछ नहीं कर सकता इसमें, जो हो रहा है होने दो। फिर मेरे फ्रेंड्स ने मुझे हेल्प की कि तुम वहाँ से बाहर निकलो। तो मैं एग्ज़ाम देने जाती थी अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ, तो मैं कॉलेज से मेरे फ्रेंड्स ने मुझे वहाँ से निकाला कि जाओ तुम यहाँ से, बाकी हम देख लेंगे, हम बोल देंगे कि हाँ शबनम नहीं मिली हमें। फिर मेरे फ्रेंड मुझे वहाँ से लेके गए शक्तिशालिनी। शक्तिशालिनी एनजीओ है, मुझे नहीं पता था ऐसा कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होती है जो हेल्प करती है इन सब चीज़ों में। क्योंकि उस टाइम पे मुझे पुलिस पे ट्रस्ट नहीं था, क्योंकि मेरी फैमिली बोलती थी कि हम तो ऐसे छूट के बाहर आ जाएंगे, केस करके क्या कर लोगी तुम, हम बाहर आ जाएंगे निकल के। तो मैंने सोचा कि मैं डायरेक्ट ऐसे कॉल करूँगी तो अभी अगर वैसे ही इतना बुरा हाल है मेरा तो बाद में पता नहीं क्या करेंगे ये लोग मेरे साथ। तो इसलिए मेरे फ्रेंड ने शक्तिशालिनी के बारे में पता किया। वो मुझे वहाँ लेके गए। फिर वहाँ पे उनसे एक मेरी काउंसलर हैं डॉली मैम, वो मेरा केस हैंडल कर रही हैं। तो अभी फिर वहाँ पे मेरी फैमिली ने मुझे वहाँ आके बहुत तंग किया। जो मेरा फ्रेंड था उसको भी तंग किया, उसकी फैमिली के घर जाके उसकी फैमिली को बहुत तंग किया कि तुम्हारा बेटा हमारी बेटी लेके चला गया है। और शक्तिशालिनी वालों को बोला कि तुमने हमारी बेटी रख रखी है। वो लोग इवन एमएलए को लेकर आ गए थे वहाँ पे कि हमारी बेटी रख रखी है इन लोगों ने, हमारी बेटी को नहीं छोड़ रहे हैं, हमारी बेटी ज़बरदस्ती रखी हुई है। तो फिर मेरे को उन लोगों को सबको फेस करना था जिनके सामने मेरी 3 साल तक मेरे आवाज़ नहीं निकली। फिर मैंने हिम्मत की कि नहीं, अब मुझे अपने लिए आवाज़ उठानी ही पड़ेगी, मुझे बोलना ही पड़ेगा अब इनसे। तो फिर मैंने बोला नहीं, मुझे ये लोगों ने ज़बरदस्ती नहीं रखा है, मैं अपनी मर्ज़ी से यहाँ रह रही हूँ और अब आप लोग जा सकते हैं यहाँ से, मुझे आप लोगों से किसी से बात नहीं करनी है। तो मैंने बोल दिया अपनी काउंसलर को कि मुझे नहीं मिलना है इन लोगों से, अभी ये कभी आएँ तो मुझे बताइएगा भी मत। तो उन लोगों ने क्या किया, मुझे शेल्टर होम आ गए मुझसे मिलने। ऑफ़िस में मिलने की परमिशन नहीं दी गई कि शबनम ने मना कर दिया, तो वो लोग शेल्टर होम में घुस गए बिना परमिशन के कि नहीं हम शबनम को मिलेंगे, हम इससे बात करेंगे। फिर उसके बाद वहाँ से उन लोगों को भगाया गया कि नहीं शबनम नहीं, जब नहीं मिलना चाहती तो तुम क्यों मुझसे मिल रहे हो, और वो नहीं जाना चाहती घर। तो वो लोग फिर उसके बाद मुझे एक बार घर ले गए कि चलो घर चलो, जो हुआ हम उसमें तुम्हारा साथ देंगे, तुम जो करना चाहती हो हम वो करवाएंगे, तुम केस करना चाहती हो चलो, पर घर चलो हम घर से करेंगे, सब ऐसे करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। मैं घर चली गई एंड मैं अपने डॉली मैम को लिख के दे के गई कि अगर मैं 2 दिन में आपको कॉल या मैसेज ना करूँ या मैं वापस ना आऊँ तो आप मुझे इस एड्रेस पे लेने आना। तो 2 दिन मैं वहाँ पे रही, तो मेरी फैमिली ने मुझे बहुत प्रेशर डाला इस चीज़ का कि तुम केस नहीं करोगी, तुम्हें जो चाहिए हम देने को तैयार हैं, पर तुम केस नहीं करोगी। अब कल जाओ वहाँ पे जाके लिख के दिखाओ कि तुम्हें केस नहीं करना है। मैंने कहा ठीक है आप लोग मुझे लेके चलो। मैं वहाँ गई तो मैंने दी को बोला, दी मुझे आपसे बात करनी है पर्सनली डॉली मैम को। उन्होंने बोला हाँ बताओ। मैंने कहा हाँ मैम, ये लोग मुझे केस करने के लिए मना कर रहे हैं, मुझे वापस उस घर में नहीं जाना है। तो उन लोगों ने मना कर दिया कि नहीं शबनम वापस नहीं जाना चाहती, आप लोग जा सकते हो यहाँ से। फिर वहाँ से मुझे पुलिस स्टेशन लेके जाया गया कि जहाँ मेरी एफआईआर करवानी थी। तो पुलिस वालों ने क्लियर मना कर दिया कि नहीं हमारे जोन का केस नहीं है, हम केस नहीं लेंगे ये। इसके पास तो फ़ोन था, इसने फ़ोन क्यों नहीं किया किसी को, हम नहीं ले रहे केस। तो 2-3 दिन लगे मेरे को मेरी एफआईआर रजिस्टर्ड कराने में। और उसके बाद पुलिस वाले बोलने लगे झूठ बोल रही है लड़की, ये इसको पैसा चाहिए, ये सब इस चीज़ों के लिए झूठ बोल रही है। फिर उसके बाद मैं इतना डरी हुई थी अपनी फैमिली से क्योंकि उन लोगों ने मुझे धमकी दी कि तुम जहाँ दिख जाओगी हम वहाँ मार देंगे। अब जब जेल में जाना है तो क्यों ना तुम्हें मार के ही जेल में चले जाएं हम लोग, जेल तो अब काटनी है हमें। तो मैं शेल्टर रूम से बाहर नहीं निकलती थी बिल्कुल। मतलब मैं बहुत ज़्यादा कि नहीं मुझे किसी से बात नहीं करनी, मैं बाहर नहीं निकलूंगी शेल्टर रूम से। फिर धीरे धीरे मैंने खुद को सोचा कि नहीं कब तक ऐसे रहूँगी मैं नहीं रह सकती ऐसे, मुझे बाहर निकलना ही पड़ेगा। मैं बाहर निकली। जिन लोगों को मेरे को मतलब जिनके आगे मैं बोल नहीं पाती थी उन लोगों को बोलना मैंने शुरू किया। मैंने कोर्ट में बोला, मैंने जज के आगे सब बोला। मेरी आईओ खुद मुझे बोल रही है कि तुम झूठ बोल रही हो, कितना लंबा टाइम लगा रही हो अपना स्टेटमेंट देने में। तो डॉली मैम ने बोला कि वो उसका हक है, उसको जितना टाइम ले वो ले सकती है अपने हक के लिए। तो मेरे को मैं पुलिस वालों की तरफ से मतलब अभी भी मेरा फरवरी में मेरा लास्ट डेट था कोर्ट का, तो भी वहाँ पे पुलिस वालों ने बोला कि ये लड़की झूठ बोल रही है। मेरे लॉयर को उन्होंने ये बात बोली, ये झूठ बोल रही है, मुझे पता है ये लड़की झूठ बोल रही है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ है। तो लॉयर ने बोला अगर ऐसा होता तो जो अक्यूज अंदर है तो वो बाहर क्यों नहीं आ गया अभी तक, अगर ये झूठ बोल रही है तो। तो उसके बाद
थैंक
अभी भी मेरी फैमिली मुझे मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान करती है, बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं, तो मुझे कंप्लेन करनी ही पड़ती है उन लोगों की। मैंने कहा आप छोड़ दो, जो हो रहा है होने दो, तो आप अपनी जगह रहो, मुझे मेरी जगह रहने दो। कह रहे नहीं केस वापस ले लो, जितना पैसा चाहिए ले लो, पर केस वापस ले लो।
थैंक यू शबनम जी। यू नो आप जिस सफ़र पे निकली हैं टू फाइट फॉर जस्टिस एंड टू क्रिएट अ सेफ स्पेस फॉर योरसेल्फ, ये एक कठिन यू नो दौर है। एंड एज मोस्ट ऑफ यू हैव हर्ड, यू नो द एक्सपीरियंस दैट शबनम इज रियली शेयरिंग इज not only unfortunately unique to her, it is an experience that most survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence face in our society. There is a lot of stigma and shame associated with sexual assault. In most cases of domestic violence, you know, the family puts a lot of pressure on the survivor to not report the cases. As Shabnam mentioned, that you know, once you do gather the courage to go and report a case in the police station, you might not be believed, you might be victim blamed and shamed. So you know, there are many challenges that a survivor faces along the way. तो शबनम जी, लास्ट क्वेश्चन आपसे बस यही है कि इन हाइंडसाइट अगर आपके पास कुछ ऐसा होता, मतलब ऐसी कौन सी चीजें होती आपको मदद कर सकती है, आपका ये पूरा एक्सपीरियंस बेटर बना सकती है? 3-4 साल जो आपने कठिनाइयां झेली हैं, अगर आपके पास कुछ टूल्स होते या इंफॉर्मेशन ज्यादा होती तो मे बी आपका ये एक्सपीरियंस बेटर हो सकता था। ऐसी कौन सी कुछ चीजें होती?
जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि मुझे नहीं पता था कि कुछ एनजीओज होते हैं जो इन चीज़ों में हेल्प करते हैं, या उनका शेल्टर होम भी होता है कि जो वहाँ वहाँ जाके लड़कियाँ रह सकती हैं, सर्वाइवर्स रह सकते हैं। तो अगर वो उस टाइम पे मेरे पास इन्फॉर्मेशन होती तो शायद मैं 3 साल नहीं, मैं 3 दिन में उस घर से निकल जाती,
निकल
क्योंकि 3
जाती।
साल वहाँ पे इतना मतलब बर्दाश्त नहीं करना पड़ता चीज़ों को, इतना खुद को मतलब नहीं प्रॉब्लम में डालती मैं। तो अगर मेरे को इन्फॉर्मेशन होती एनजीओज के बारे में, या किसी कुछ ऐसा मेरे पास होता कि जिससे मैं डायरेक्ट किसी से ऐसे इंसान से कांटेक्ट कर पाऊँ जो मेरी हेल्प करे, तो मैं बहुत जल्दी उन चीज़ों से बाहर आ जाती, तो मुझे 3 साल उस घर में नहीं रहना पड़ता डर
नहीं
डर
रहना
के। अब
पड़ता।
अपने घर में भी मैं कुंडी लगा के अपने घर में रहती थी, कि नहीं मुझे अपने रूम से बाहर ही नहीं आना है।
Thank you, Shabnam ji. Today Shabnam is safe. She is living with her partner. She is financially independent. Thank you again. हमारे साथ आपने आके ये share करा अपना experience. And हम आपकी, we applaud you for the courage that you have shown and taken to come out of this abusive relationship that you had. And I would like to remind everybody watching that My Amber has a network of 500 plus service providers in India that you can reach out for legal, medical, mental, social, psychological support, depending on where you're based in whichever city you're based. So Shabnam ji, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to our next session, we are going to now introduce our panelist for our panel on prevention, safety, and empowerment for women through the My Amber app. So I would like to first introduce Dr. Rashmi Singh. Dr. Rashmi Singh is leading the Department of Women and Child Development of the Delhi government. She is a champion of gender equality and women empowerment. And among her many, many accomplishments, she led the National Mission for Empowerment of Women, including catalytic research and transformative initiatives on the ground. We also have with us Ms. Richa Anirudh, who is the producer, anchor of the YouTube show Zindagi with Richa. She is best known for hosting the talk show Zindagi Live, previously on IBN 7, then on ETV Network, and has won many, many Best Talk Show awards in all of its 6 seasons. Her talk shows are a powerhouse of emotions and raise many burning social issues. The motto of all her interviews is telling stories that touch our lives. Welcome, Richa. And we have finally Ms. Nishtha Satyam, who was appointed as the Deputy Country Representative for UN Women, the entity of the United Nations that is dedicated to working towards gender equality and women's empowerment in India as of January 2018. She was formerly managing strategic partnerships, policy impact, and public relations for the UN Women Multi-Country Office for India, Bhutan, Maldives, and Sri Lanka. Welcome to all three of you, and thank you for being with us this evening at the My Amber launch event. And I'm going to dive straight into the questions. We have a very limited schedule now. So let's talk about what are some major shifts and trends that you have seen in terms of women's safety over the past 5 years in India. So I'll get started with Dr. Rashmi Singh. If you can keep your answers to about 2 minutes, that will be really helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm audible. Fine. So first of all, congratulations to the organizer for the NASCOM Foundation, UN Women, Vodafone, for bringing out something which I'm sure is going to be beneficial for many women. And when you talk about trends, I think this is one of the trends that, now we do have like a lot of innovative things which are being thought of, the private sector also coming forward to think about like, such instruments which can, bring a better enabling environment. And so this is, for somebody, within the government who's been seeing at the policy level, the changes happening in terms of laws, in terms of legislations, becoming more stringent, for the way we define violence against women, the kind of enforcement mechanism that we bring, which provides for much stricter punishments than what it was before. So it is very heartening for me to see that more people, more stakeholders have over the period got involved regarding their role in like, bringing about a change, not just in mindset, because we do like all of us keep talking about that, right? Behavioral change, change in the mindset, but they're also thinking about concrete instruments, like the present app that you're talking about. So investing in such things where like, safe technology, the control and command centers, so, which have come about in many of the cities. So maybe you'll like to talk about, that technology driven applications, later, but I do think that the other big change has been institutions, and institutions in terms of like, the mechanisms with the police, with the legal service authority, and the kind of gender lens which we are seeing today being introduced in the curriculum, as the children grow up in the universities, in the colleges, in the police training, in the judiciary training, so that gender lens. So that's one thing that, safety is not just something which is left for enforcement with the police. So, somewhere it's entering a thought process in curriculum. And of course, programs and schemes like the One Stop Crisis Center, which is one of our flagship programs with the government. Even in Delhi, you'll have in all the deputy commissioners' offices and other places, with the district administration, with the hospital, with the courts, with the district courts. We have this One Stop Crisis Center, which maybe I'll talk about. But these are some of the trends which I definitely wanted, to underscore as a context.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. Moving on to Nishtha, if you'd like to highlight a few trends that you have been seeing in terms of women's safety.
Honestly, I'm just going to keep it short. I think the digital revolution really is one of the major shifts that have taken place since the Beijing conference, with very profound impacts on gender equality and women's rights. In 2020, this year, the UN Secretary General listed technology and innovation as one of the 5 areas in which achieving gender equality actually has the potency to transform our world. The other big shift that we are seeing is the fact कि हम हिंसा की बात करने लगे हैं. I think 10 years back, we wouldn't have had a webinar, we wouldn't have a gathering, we wouldn't have thought about an app. The fact that hinsa jo hai has become a political issue, and by that I don't want to politicize the issue, but what I essentially mean is the fact that it has become an important vote bank issue in this country, and I think the Nirbhaya movement saw that on how we ensured that safety became and went from a moment to a movement. So today what we see really is a movement for violence across the globe. The fact that it is a political issue, the fact that, in the last elections, as many women voted as men, and the fact that, you can't hold that population, which is 50% of the population, under the fear of violence. And I think that the shift from this being a moment, which was once in a while, to a movement, to me is a tectonic shift in how we place the issue. I think the governments are picking it up. Rashmi ji spoke to it. Media is picking it up. Richa is here to speak to it. The UN is center staging it. And women are center staging it themselves to say, you know what, we cannot be doing anything else if we're just held to the fear of violence. So 2 big shifts. I think the access to voice, choice, and agency, which the digital revolution has enabled. It has also enabled raising voices with an anonymity. I think we've not had that combination really before, where women have had the safe space, where it's not just me speaking, but it is a congregation of voices. And the fact that it has become an issue, I think, is a beautiful combination. I think we're lucky to live in these times where these 2 things have come together, which I think, and now it is upon us to sustain this movement and to sustain the energy of the movement until we really see the issue through.
Absolutely. From moment to movement. Coming to you, Richa, I'm going to ask you, how can technology play a key role to ensure that our women and girls are safe?
Shruti, technology se zyada, I really want to mention what Rashmi Birla ji was saying. Apart from everything else, what needs to change is our mindset. And jo hum trends ki baat kar rahe the, Nishtha said almost whatever I wanted to say. So mindset, from, I grew up in 80s in a very small town called Jhansi. But even there, if my father could tell me ki koi baat nahi, you take the scooter at night in the scooter, Rashmi Didi knows me since those days, and koi kuch bole, to pitai kar dena, we will handle. So, और आज भी हो सकता है in metros like Delhi and Mumbai, a father might tell his daughter कि नहीं ऐसे नहीं जाना वैसे नहीं. So it all depends, on the mindset. So I a lot of times I feel what I am today has a lot to do with everyone in my family telling me तुमको डरने की जरूरत नहीं. If that guy is stalking you, you don't have to feel scared. And I'm talking about the times where girls used to be told, why are you being stalked? तुमने कुछ किया होगा, from things like that. And I just thoda sa topic se digress kar rahi hu, but I want to share an incident that happened just now while I was listening to your chat. So 2 days before, my neighbor, a lot of people, because we are in the media, messaged me that, some friend's sister is being beaten by the husband. How can you help? He's hit her in the eye and he's an advocate. So the typical mindset is that, nothing can happen against him. The husband is powerful, rich, whatever. So I immediately messaged back that, please ask her if she wants to go to the police. I'll try and connect, I'll connect her to Noida police. There's a crime against women cell. There's a DCP, so, and I didn't hear from her for 2 days. So a lot of times we see ki, women उस समय तो panic में बोल देती हैं, but then they take a back foot, कि ठीक है, husband है, family name, all that. So just before starting our chat, I thought we're talking about women's safety. Let me at least ask the lady what happened to your friend. She said, let me ask because I also haven't heard. And we both mutually agreed, because of the perception that probably she's taken a back foot. And while the chat was happening, Shruti, I'm so happy to tell you that I get the message from my neighbor saying that I asked her. The update is that the husband is in the jail. He's been arrested.
Wow.
And by the same crime against women cell in Noida. And I have to mention DCP Vrinda Shukla. So this is the whole shift that we were talking about. Yes, technology, what I really want to say is, but technology needs to be accessible to everyone. Not only me sitting in Noida, if we talk about rural girls, they walk kilometers and kilometers to go to their schools and colleges. Sometimes they use bicycles. Can technology, अब हम जब इतना बात करते हैं कि Wi-Fi सब जगह है, ये 4G, 5G and all of that, is the safe, whatever efforts we are trying to develop for women's safety, especially girls' safety, are we reaching the remotest areas in the country? So for me, that is a very big concern. So, whether your app or any, whatever efforts are being done, I think the most important is to reach that last girl in that remotest village of India. It could be South India, Northeast, wherever. So if she needs help, she needs to be able to connect to the police or whatever authorities, women commission or whatever, but help needs to reach her, SOS.
I agree with you 100%, and I think we are doing our best in the My Amber app to not only make it in different regional languages, but also include, an all India level service provider, ताकि वो लड़की जो एक, देहात या गांव में वहां से भी वो सर्विस एक्सेस कर सकती है, वो
ये ना हो कि हेल्प तो है, ऐप है, सब कुछ है, लेकिन नेटवर्क नहीं है, चला नहीं है,
absolutely. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep this really short. Nishtha, I'm going to come back to you and then Dr. Rashmi ji. So I think a lot of what we see in our society today, whenever a rape incident happens or a gender-based violence incident happens, we see there is a shift in responsibility and there is blaming, right? So for example, the government might, blame the civil society. The civil society feels that it is the government's job to protect us. We as individuals, most women feel that, it is not our responsibility to keep ourselves safe, that, either it's the men in our family or the government or the police that should keep us safe. So whose responsibility is it to address gender-based violence against women and girls? And what can, governments, private sector, civil society, and individuals do to ensure that the women and girls are safe in their cities and their communities? So I'll start with you, Nishtha, and then come to you, Dr. Rashmi.
Sure, Shruti ji. No, honestly, अगर हम हिंसा के मुद्दे को किसी एक पे डाल सकते हैं या किसी एक उस पे डाल सकते हैं, तो अभी तक शायद हम सॉल्व कर चुके होते हैं इस मुद्दे को, because that would have been the easiest thing to do, which is to pin someone isolatedly responsible. I think what we have to understand, Shruti, are two things. One is that the issue in itself for violence is not an isolated issue. It is not that the woman is empowered throughout, she has a work, she's making money, she has access to voice, choice and agency, but she still has violence. The issue in itself is a very interconnected systemic failure. The fact that she doesn't have voice at home, the fact that she doesn't have choices in her career, the fact that she doesn't have value to what she is doing, the fact that public spaces and private spaces are both not safe for her. So हिंसा का मुद्दा कहीं एक वैक्यूम में नहीं एग्जिस्ट करता, वो एग्जिस्ट ही इसलिए करता है क्योंकि ये मुद्दे इंटरकनेक्टेड है. And the moment you are talking about an interconnected set of issues, there cannot be one stakeholder who's responsible for it, right? It can't just be the police, it can't just be the government, it can't just be me and you. But what I do definitely want to take the opportunity to reiterate is it is not the onus of the woman to keep herself safe. I think, that's the जो सबसे disenfranchised है circle में, उसी पे हम सबसे ज्यादा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थोप देते हैं कि ये आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, आप आवाज उठाएं, ये आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि आप हिंसा को पहचाने. People don't speak up in vacuums. If I also know today, even as a franchised woman, that कि मैं आवाज उठाऊंगी लेकिन उसको सुनेगा कोई नहीं और उसको कोई कुछ नहीं करेगा, I will also think even as the most franchised woman, I will think 1,000 times, because it's a lone voice in a sea of voices. So today we are all responsible. And by that, I'm not evasive. I'm not being evasive to answering the question. But any incident of violence, whether it happens in the home or it happens in the public space, is a systemic failure. It is not because of one thing failing. It is because of many things failing at the same time. And we have had some horrendous cases recently where you can actually see how different points in the in the ecosystem has failed. Families have failed them. Law enforcement have failed them. Those at the other end, media has failed them. So somewhere we've all failed them. So I think we must interpret this as a systemic failure of the entire ecosystem, both in the way the issue pans out in a woman's life and in the way that it is addressed. The only ask that I would have of everybody here as important stakeholders is, let us not sit back when violence is normalized on an everyday basis and then react on that one case that really tears our heart apart. I think we do it with great ease, that जो हम रोज सुनते हैं, रोज जिन चीजों से गुजरते हैं, उन चीजों पे हम आवाज नहीं उठाते, because sometimes it's just exhausting, right? There is so much violence in our language. There is so much violence around us. You walk on a Delhi street, you will hear 2 or 3 people in a span of 5 kilometers abusing. And as a woman, it will move your heart completely, but you don't want to react to that, because how much will you react to such situations? But if we continue and sit back and see the normalization of violence, we eventually will only be reacting to moments, like I said. And I think that's one thing. It might be exhausting, but that's one thing we must internalize as stakeholders who are important to this conversation. I'm just going to give you one example. We pick up with the newspaper and we see or read a case that really bothers men and women equally, really to the core of our heart. But then we hear a Bollywood song which says "Saas gali deve, sasural," whatever, which is normalizing violence, which is basically telling a woman that this is how your marital life is going to look like. And we find that absolutely okay. And the contrast of it in recent times, I think there's this video of a woman hula hooping, which I really loved seeing, which has gone viral. And she's doing it for safety of women in public spaces. But the song she is performing to is the song that I'm talking about. So that's how we don't realize कि जो हिंसा को हम इतनी आसानी से नॉर्मलाइज करते हैं, वही जब पीक पे पहुंच जाता है, जब हमारे बर्दाश्त के बाहर हो जाता है, हम उसी पे रिएक्ट करते हैं. तो अगर हम रोज रिएक्ट करें, हम रोज आवाज उठाएं, छोटी बातों पे आवाज उठाएं, तो मे बी we will steer ourselves from seeing the incidences that really move us. But yes, it's a systemic failure. That's when violence happens, because the issue in itself is not isolated. So I'm going to stop at that.
मेरा पीछा करूं तो टोकने का नहीं is literally glorifying stalking.
Absolutely. And we don't
shocking. Yeah.
I'm going to come to Dr. Rashmi. The same question for you, Dr. Rashmi.
Yeah, actually, my entire thesis, by the way, when you say doctor, so my thesis is basically on the principles of, good governance, which looks at women-centric convergence. Now, what does this convergence mean? Now, this convergence is actually talking about bringing this connectedness, bringing this multidisciplinary approach, bringing a multi-sectoral approach, to the entire dynamics of how you, broach the agenda of, women's safety, security, dignity, women's education, health, livelihood. Now, why I mention it all is because somewhere women's safety is something which we cannot view in just isolation. And why I say that it relates to good governance, because in terms of our response, and what Nishtha was talking about, a systemic response. Now, what we need is like the various actors to be able to respond in a harmony and synergy which it requires, because not any single actor is complete by itself. Now, do they really have the capacity to engage with each other in a coordinated manner is the big question. Now, one-stop crisis center, when I mention as one of the schemes, the idea here is basically, to test how the system responds in a coordinated manner. Now, a woman affected by domestic violence at night, coming or thrown out of the house, where does she go? So if she comes to this center, there is a safe shelter, for only a few days, yet you have to connect her to, for a long-term kind of safe shelter, safe space where she can stay. You have to connect her for the immediate filing of whether FIR, getting the help of a protection officer, which is actually coming from the Women and Child Department itself. Now, health needs. So immediately, somebody is brutalized, you need immediate first aid assistance help. You need legal counselor to, legal aid service to not only file a case, but follow up so that the perpetrator of the violence is booked to task. And of course, in all this, you need an emotional connect with her. Who gives that? I think it is the civil society organizations, and it is, the social workers, it is trained counselors, who are best facilitated in the capacity to do that. So you need, again, a synergy between the government, the various instruments of the government, between civil society, between, I would say, the woman herself who's affected, for her to engage with the system. So for her to gain the confidence that, yes, there is a system working, there's a coordinated system, because otherwise you cannot expect her to run from pillar to post to get relief and justice both. Absolutely. So that's the big challenge. So the challenges and the response both is how to connect the dot. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think the MyAmber app does that beautifully. We have, your almost 500 one-stop centers on the MyAmber app. And like I said, we have information on legal, medical, social, psychological help that a survivor needs when they experience any sort of abuse. My last question, and we'll unfortunately have to cut this short, is for Richa. Richa, so what are some gaps in using technology for women's safety? And I know you've just been introduced to the MyAmber, so you probably haven't had a chance to play with it. But if there were some specific features that you would like to see in your phone app for women's safety, what would those features look like? You're muted, Richa.
Can you hear me now? So the biggest concern for me would be probably if I was a woman going through, suffering from violence at home or whatever, or probably outside being stalked or eve teased, one button which would connect me to the local police, SOS, and immediately. So that immediate help is very important, Dr. Shruti, because what happens is if anything comes later, then I think it's of no use. So immediate help. So I don't know how the app helps that ways. I would really love to know. And also probably a network connecting all the survivors, because a lot of times what happens is, like I said earlier also, because of the perception and all, a lot of women victims are scared of opening up, or kiske paas jaun, kisko batao, kaun samjhega. So if there's a network there, if I see a group where a woman suffering from domestic violence would know that if I join this group, there'll be people who've gone through, been there, done that, have suffered, have immersed, success, or so as survivors, fighters out of that, and they know they can guide me where should I go, whether it's authorities or counseling, emotional counseling. So that support group, if you have networks like that, it would be very nice. Technologically, I could get, और उसमें एक anonymity factor भी हो तो बहुत अच्छा है. A lot of women do not want to, because I've done a TV show. Yeah, Zindagi Live में क्या होता था? A lot of times you used to call a woman. I've done shows on domestic violence, female feticide, acid attack. A lot of times when used to say कि बात तो करना चाहते हैं, TV पर नहीं आना चाहते. So हमारी society का वो एक taboo है. तो क्या एक anonymity feature है कि मैं अपनी पहचान बताए बिना एक support group से पूछ सकूं कि मेरे साथ घर में ये हो रहा है, मैं एक बच्ची हूँ जिसके साथ अब्यूज हो रहा है, या एक मैं महिला हूँ जिसके साथ वायलेंस हो रही है और मुझे मदद चाहिए, मैं कहाँ जाऊँ, without revealing my identity. So and so I would know there are people out there जो मेरी स्थिति से ही गुजर चुके हैं उससे निकल के आए हैं and वो मेरी मदद कर सकते हैं. So probably these two features.
Yeah, and we have some of these features on the MyAmber app. So I would, I'll stop here in the interest of time. I would encourage everybody to explore the app. It's a wonderful app which has a resource of information and, like I said, a huge service directory. It has the SOS button that you can reach out for instant help. And you can be anonymous while using the app. We ask for very, very little private information on the app.
Wow.
So again, please explore the app and give us more feedback. Handing over now to Akansha. A big thank you to all the panelists. I'm sorry I had to cut this short in the interest of time, but this is a topic, as you all know, we can all chat a lot about. So thank you for your time again. Akansha, handing it over to you. Hi, Akansha.
Hi, Dr. Shruti. Thank you so much for chairing such a key session. And I think since we just spot on time, I will quickly request Santosh to deliver the thank you note. I'm glad to say that everyone is staying back with us, all the participants. Santosh, if you're there, we'd really like to close the session with a thank you note from your end, please.
Thank you, Akansha, and good evening to everybody who's listening in on this conversations, and to speakers on this panel, and to our guests. I think it has been a wonderful journey that we've been having for the past 6 to 7 months in conceptualizing and coming out with an app like this. So, I'm privileged to, place my vote of thanks on behalf of NASCOM Foundation. I would first like to thank Mrs. Rajashree Birla for her powerful sharing. I think, it gives a lot of comfort when powerful people bring out personal sharing of their journey of empowerment, and it inspires a lot. Also to P. Balaji, who's been a pillar of support to all the work that we'll be doing with the Vodafone India Foundation over the years and supporting us in all the way. Also, Ashok Pamidi, the CEO of NASCOM Foundation, for his direction. A very big thanks to Shabnam for coming out and sharing again. We believe that authentic sharing always helps people who are listening to it and are able to relate. And thank you for that authentic sharing. I hope the women listening to this are also inspired to take action. There are some people I would like to officially thank. I would like to thank Dr. Nilay and Anshuman from the Vodafone India team, CSR team. They have been instrumental in, supporting us, guiding us in developing this whole app, and also, giving currently inputs and feedbacks on time. I would be misplaced if I am not, thanking the wonderful panel that we had. Thank you, Nishta. Thank you, Dr. Isha. Thank you to Nishta. Thank you, Dr. Richa, everyone, for being on the panel. And I think, we've heard the voices, and the voices that actually are in the forefront of bringing change. So I think we will take the inputs that we have received from you and make this work. And, I'd be, unforgiven if I don't thank enough the safety team for spending in a lot of time with us in being able to come up with this app. Dr. Shruti Kapoor, we are indebted to you for all your support that you have given us, along with your team members Anshul and Satvika, and also to the Signity team who've been developing this app. So thank you, Diksha, Kanupriya, Pooja, Sanjeev, and others for putting your backs into this and helping us to come up with this wonderful app. I would also like to thank the team members, Farooq and Gagan, Farooq for bringing all the partnerships together and ensuring that we are able to complete the app, and Gagan to ensure that all the technology pieces are there. I'd like to thank UN Women for supporting us all the way and also helping us onboard users and opening up the networks for this app to be successful. Also, on that note, I would like to quote Maya Angelou, who has said that you cannot control the events around you, but you can decide not to be reduced by it. So I think it's a very powerful quote, and I still think that it stands the test of time and is still relevant today. I once again place a record my deepest gratitude to everybody who's made this webinar happen, and for Kirtana to be able to sign for us. I know it's a very difficult activity to sign for an hour and a half, but thank you so much. We hope that the people with disabilities are also able to use the app. I know that Gagan has spent time to make this app accessible, and I think that feature will come in handy when it's there. So once again, I would request everyone to download the app from the Play Store, My Amber it is called, and try using it, and also give us feedback so that we are able to develop it better, add more features. With that note, once again, thank you, and we hope we engage with you in the future. Thank you, everyone.